This is the actual fact of why the Great Pyramids were built. This is from the tablet 10, that is stone tablet, that was written possibly hundreds of thousands of years ago, if not 10,000 years ago, way before the Bible. So enjoy, and you'll find out exactly why these pyramids were built in exactly the place they were built in. Enjoy.
On them the southern delimit he anchored. Where the second set of peaks was required, mountains there were none. Only a flat land above the water-clogged valley from the ground protruded. Artificial peaks thereon we can raise, so did Ningizida to the leaders say. On a tablet the image of a smooth-sided, skyward rising peaks for them he drew. If it can be done, let it so be, Enlil with approval said. Let them also as beacons serve. On the flat land above the river's valleys, Ningizida a scale model built. The rising angles and 4 smooth sides with it he perfected. Next to it a larger peak he placed, its sides to earth's 4 corners he set. By the Anunnaki with their tools of power were its stones cut and erected. Beside it, in a precise location, the peak that was its twin he placed. With galleries and chambers for pulsating crystals he designed it. When this artful peak to the heavens rose, to place upon it the capstone the leaders were invited. Of electrum, an admixture by Gibbel fashioned, was the apex stone made. The sunlight to the horizon it reflected, by night a pillar of fire it was. The power of all the crystals to the heavens in a beam it focused. When the artful works by Ningizida designed were completed and ready, the Anunnaki leaders the great twin peak entered. At what they saw they marveled. Eker, house which, like a mountain, is, they named it, a beacon to the heavens it was. That the Anunnaki the deluge survived and prevailed forever it proclaimed. Now the new place of the celestial chariots gold from across the seas can receive. From it the chariots to Nibiru the gold for survival shall carry. From it to the east, where the sun on the designated day rises, they will ascend. To it, to the southwest, where the sun on the designated day sets, they will descend. Then Enlil by his own hand the Nibiru crystals activated. Inside eerie lights began to flicker. An enchanting hum the stillness broke. Outside the capstone all at once was shining, brighter than the sun it was. The multitude of assembled Anunnaki a cry of joy uttered. Ninmah by the occasion moved, a poem recited and sang. House that is like a mountain, house with a pointed peak, for heaven earth it is equipped, the handiwork of the Anunnaki it is. House bright and dark, house of heaven and earth.
In the last video you heard how stone tablets were translated and told that the Anunnaki built the pyramids without little people there helping. So let's have a look what they actually said. So they talked about it being 4 sides and smooth. Now technically there is 8 sides to the pyramids, but I mean, are they actually going to sit and write? Well, technically there's 8, but you can only see it 2 times a year. Probably not. They also talked about a light beam coming from the top, and energy is actually prevalent. This is Sky News website here, with many scientists agreeing that there is an energy source going to the top of the pyramid, so that makes sense again. And also the text says that they pointed the Great Pyramid to the 4 corners of the earth, which when you actually break it down it's exactly on a correct ley line pointing to the 4 corners of the earth. So they were right. You are going to love this. You're going to find out when the Sphinx was built and why. And I used to think it was possibly Anubis, but it's not actually. It's a lion shape, and you are going to find out why the head is the head it is. So this is from the Lost Book of Enki, Tablet 10. Enjoy.
While the Anunnaki their remarkable handiwork were celebrating, Enki to Enlil words of suggestion said, when in future days it will be asked, when and by whom has this marvel been fashioned? Let us beside the twin peaks a monument create. The age of the lion let it announce. The image of Ningizida, the peak's designer, let its face be. Let it precisely toward the place of the celestial chariots gaze. When, by whom, and the purpose let it to the future generations reveal. So did Enki to Enlil suggest. To the words Enlil consented, and to Enki said, Of the place of the celestial chariots, Utu must again be the commander. Let the gazing lion, precisely eastward facing, with Ningazita's image be. When the work to cut and shape the line from the bedrock was proceeding, Marduk to his father Enki words of aggrievement said, To dominate the whole earth to me did you promise. Now command and glory to others are granted, without task or dominion I am left. In my erstwhile domain are the artificed mounts situated. On the lion the image mine must be. By these words of Marduk, Ningazita was angered. The other sons were also annoyed. By the clamor for domains, Ninurta and his brothers were also aroused. Lands for themselves and devoted earthlings everyone was demanding. Let not the celebration a contest become. Ninmah amidst the raised voices shouted, The earth is still in havoc, we Anunnaki are few, of the earthlings are our only survivors. Let Marduk, Ningazita of the honor not deprive, let us Marduk's words also heed. So did Ninmah, the peacemaker, to the contending leaders say. For peace to prevail, the habitable lands between us should be apart set, Enlil to Enki said. To make the peninsula an uncontested divider they agreed, to the peacemaker Ninmah they it allotted. Till Moon, land of the missiles, they named it. To earthlings it was beyond bounds. The habitable lands to the east thereof to Enlil and his offspring were set apart. For the descendants of two sons of Sesudra, Shem and Japhet, therein to dwell. The dark-hued landmass that the Abzu included to Enki and his clan was for domains granted.
So there you go, you heard it here first. So it was built just after the Twin Peaks, well they call them the Twin Peaks, but the pyramids. Which is fascinating, isn't it? There you go, you've learnt something. So it's at this time that the Anunnaki say that they're going to put their tablets, the secret tablets and sacred tablets, such as tablets of destiny, in the Hall of Records. Now, the only two buildings or buildings that they built at the time, which is after the flood, was the Sphinx and the pyramids. Now, there's a lot of people saying that under the right paw of the Sphinx is the Hall of Records. So that would kind of make sense, seeing as the Anunnaki did say that they was going to put their tablets in the Hall of Records, and the only buildings were the Sphinx and pyramids. But also Ed Casey said that it was the Hall of Records was there, and leaked footage now supposedly, this is from within the Sphinx itself, shows a locked up secret passageway. Now, if there was a Hall of Records, the American government, trust me, have already been there, got that and done that and taken. I'm going to tell you why I think we don't have free will. And that's because, for example, back in the 80s, I spoke to clairvoyants, mediums, and heard remote viewers talk about the future, and the near future. And the near future included camps where people will be put in, which is kind of similar to what's happening now. And then they said that after that there'll be a less population and an AI future. In other words, artificial intelligence will be controlling your life. And now when you add the social scoring, etc. Now these are people back in the 80s that's telling the future. Now obviously there's other people out there that can predict the future. So the future's already happened, and now I know people could say, oh, but that's one possible future. But no, how can you say there's one possible future if there's loads? You can't just pick one. That means that one has happened, which means we've already done this before, and your free will was once, but not now. This is already